So I just got to watch Guns Akimbo, which stars Daniel Radcliffe, yes, Harry Potter, and also the wonderfully gorgeous, awesome Samara Weaving, which is the big reason I wanted to watch this. I really like Daniel Radcliffe a lot, so I would have been up for this anyway. But when I saw Samara Weaving was also starring, I was like sold. Although recently I found a lot of people actually don't like her and find her annoying. Okay, sure. Also, I want to point out that Milo Cawthorn's in this. I love Milo Cawthorn. He's only in it for maybe 5 minutes altogether. I don't care. I'm going to give the guy a shout out. Blood Punch, as well as Deathgasm, Ash vs. Evil Dead, which Samara Weaving was also in. And you've even got him being the Green Power Ranger in Power Rangers RPM. Yes, my kids will watch a fuck ton of Power Rangers. Anyways, what this movie is about is a guy is unwillingly put into a game called Schism. Schism is this illegal underground fight club that is all over the city he lives in, and he is knocked out, and when he wakes up, he has two guns bolted to his hands. So he really has no use of his hands except for to use them to fire the two guns that are attached to his hands permanently, and there's no way to get them off. He has 50 bullets in each handgun, and he is tasked with killing Nyx. And Nyx is played by Samara Weaving. Nyx is the most badass killer in the game of Schism, and he has to kill her to gain his freedom, or obviously die, whether she kills him or they kill him. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the setup. And of course, as it goes on, he's running from everybody, shooting up the fucking joints. It's a super, super juvenile movie. I mean, pure juvenile. What it reminded me of, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, by the way. What it reminded me of a lot of is something like Crank, where it's constant high energy. It's never trying to be realistic. It's never trying to be serious. It's never trying to be anything but pure fun. Just pure fucking like juvenile fun. Like every character is over the top ridiculous. Samara Weaving's character is so absurd. But damn, she's just so fucking wonderful. I just find the girl to be unbelievable. I love her in this. Now, I think where the film is just kind of vary, and why I don't love it versus, I did really enjoy it though. I was always into it. I was always engaged. I was always looking forward to seeing what was next. Is that when you go for these big jokes, when you go for these over-the-top ridiculous things, because there's so many deaths. This is like a John Wick movie, man, where every single person's getting a headshot and the fucking blood's coming out, which is great. I mean, just packs up the carnage. I would suggest at least 250, 300 people die in this movie. I mean, it's just out of control how many people Nyx kills alone. But when you go for those big over-the-top jokes, a lot of them, when you go big, like when you swing hard, you miss hard. So there's a lot of like jokes. There's a lot of scenarios, lots of setups, lots of stuff like that they go big. Everything is like go big or home. Go big or go home. And some of it really worked for me. I can't say any of it really worked for me though. Like very, very few things. And in fact, what's funny about it is that a lot of the things that really, really worked for me were actually subtle. There were like little comments that were almost like throwaway behind, you barely even heard them, kind of just like quick little throwaway lines. But for some reason, those really got me and I was laughing. And that was just a really great performance by Daniel Radcliffe here, who I think is fantastic in the movie. But he has a few lines, real snarky, under the breath things that I just loved. And then those were the only ones that really got me to laugh, like out loud. Everything else that I did like was kind of like, that was, I enjoyed that. I didn't laugh, but I was like, I liked that. That was cool. And then there was a good amount of stuff that I was like, okay, that didn't work for me. Like that, oh, that was nope, nope. But I was kind of like also, I don't know, grateful that they tried. I've said that on the channel many, many times where I rather swing for the fences and miss than play it safe. So there's a lot of carnage and havoc being wreaked here, and it's a fun flick. I mean, but you got to be the kind of person that's going to be into something like a Crank, something that's just absolutely silly, is totally juvenile when it comes to its humor, and I just, this film's just not for everybody, but there's a lot of fun to be had here. Now, I know that the director got himself in trouble recently with some comments or something he made. I don't give a fuck about any of that. I'm not saying what he said was right or wrong. I honestly don't even remember what the fuck it was. But I don't attach myself to that kind of stuff. I watch the film as it is. I'm not going to fucking like go in and watch Jeepers Creepers and be like, oh, what did Victor Salva do before? Like, I get it, but I'm not going to wrap myself up in that shit. So I know that there's some hatred towards this because of this director, but he did make a fun flick. And I don't know what the budget was, but it's a pretty damn impressive film. It's like high octane, balls to the wall, lots of car chases, tons of gunplay, lots of fast camera movements and angles and running around and crane shots and helicopters and all sorts of crazy shit. So I don't know what the budget was on this, but it had to be decent. I mean, for as much as is going on in this movie at all times, yeah. I mean, whatever it was, it still was pretty successful overall. But yeah, I mean, I think that like if you're in like 30 minutes into this movie, it actually kind of reminded me a little bit of Wanted at times as well. Like, in the scene in Wanted where he like takes the keyboard and he like smashes the guy's face and it says like "fuck you," like with the guy's teeth and some of the keys and stuff. Like, it kind of reminds me of like stuff like that. That kind of imagery, that kind of jokes, those kinds of over the top scenarios. So yeah, totally my kind of film. It's just that some things landed, some things didn't. Every time Samara Weaving was on the screen, I was always happy, but that's extremely biased because I'm like near in love with the girl. So, but you know what I'm saying. So let me know if you check it out. It's available for VOD rental right now. And if that sounds like your kind of flick, if you watch the trailer, you're going to know exactly what you're getting yourself into. And I think it delivers for the most part. I had a good time. So let me know. Adios.